Zoom recording. And I'm now clicking admit all and you'll see them coming in. So you can start a few seconds after that.
Welcome to the Visioning Workshop for West Athens-Westmont. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to take a moment to let people settle in and then we will get started. Please note this meeting is being recorded and will be made available on the project website, which we will share with you in a future slide. Bienvenido al taller de visión para West Athens-Westmont. Gracias por acompañarnos. Vamos a tomarnos un momento para que la gente se acomode y luego comenzaremos. Tenga en cuenta que esta reunión se está grabando y estará disponible en el sitio web del proyecto que compartiremos con usted en un momento. Welcome to the Visioning Workshop for West Athens-Westmont. Thank you for joining us today. Please note this meeting is being recorded and will be made available on the project's website, which we will share with you in a future slide. Bienvenido al taller de visión para West Athens-Westmont. Gracias por acompañarnos. Tenga en cuenta que esta reunión se está grabando y estará disponible en el sitio web del proyecto que compartiremos con usted en un momento. Language support is available. To listen to this presentation in Spanish, click the globe symbol at the bottom of your screen. We have here today Marina Sorache Ferreiro providing Spanish translation. If you have any technical difficulties getting to the Spanish channel, please use the chat box to let us know. El soporte de idiomas está disponible. Para escuchar esta presentación en español, haga clic en el símbolo globo en la parte inferior de su pantalla. Hoy tenemos aquí Marina Sorache Ferreiro brindando traducción al español. Si tiene alguna dificultad técnica para acceder al canal en español, utilice el botón de chat para hacérnoslo saber. Okay, so before we get started, here are a few housekeeping items. Please note that everyone joining the meeting is muted by default. You may use the raise hand feature to talk. You can access the raise hand feature under the reaction selection menu, or you may use the chat box to submit questions as shown on this slide. Also, at the end of the workshop today, the county would like you to respond to a brief exit survey. We will begin with some introductions. My name is Janet Rodriguez, and I'm today's meeting facilitator and a member of the DUDEC consultant team, collaborating with the County of Los Angeles Regional Planning Department on this project. Also from DUDEC, we have here today Gaurav Srivastava. We have John Camp and James Rojas from Placeit, who will be leading an activity in a few moments. And from the County Regional Planning Department, we have Leon Freeman and Rich Marshallian, who will be available to answer any questions at the end of our activity. So now that you know us, we would like to get to know you. We will begin a poll shortly asking what your relationship is with West Athens-Westmont. Do you live here, work here? Are you a business owner? Please select your answer. You should see the poll on your screen now. Great, thank you so much for participating and letting us know who you are. It's great to see people who live here in attendance tonight. And again, thank you for making time to be with us today. So now that we know a little bit about each other, let's get started on a brief introduction on what the Metro Area Plan is. The Metro Area Plan is being prepared by the Department of Regional Planning of the County of Los Angeles. Let us first set the planning area in a geographic context. This is a map of Los Angeles County. There are 88 incorporated cities in the county. These cities are individually responsible for planning and regulating development within their jurisdictions. However, not all areas in the county lie within these 88 cities. The areas that are not within these cities are referred to as unincorporated areas. Los Angeles County, via the Department of Regional Planning, is responsible for planning and regulating development in unincorporated areas. To effectively plan and regulate development in unincorporated areas across such a large geography, Los Angeles County adopted a planning framework in 2015. This identified 11 planning areas across the county. The metro area is one of the 11 planning areas in Los Angeles County. The focus of the metro area plan is on the neighborhoods shown on this map. Some of you may have participated in the introductory workshops on October 26 and 28. If you did not get a chance to join and would like to learn more about the metro area plan, you can view the recording on the project's website at planning.lacounty.gov/metro area plan. It is available on this slide, and we will also include it in the chat box at a later time. A primary goal of the metro area plan is to update existing land use policies and to address community needs. To simplify and streamline zoning rules, it will aim to consolidate regulations that currently exist across multiple plans. In evaluating existing land use and zoning, the metro area plan will prioritize issues that are central to the lives of community members. Foremost, it will utilize an environmental justice and equity lens to evaluate all recommendations, recognizing that the 7 communities have historically been disadvantaged via past planning decisions. Additionally, the plan will address the need for affordable housing, analyze the suitability of new housing in proximity to transit stops, and carefully study potential residential displacement. It will also implement zoning recommendations from the county-wide housing element. With regards to transportation, the plan will focus on safety for bicyclists and pedestrians. The plan will also look at opportunities for economic development and new green spaces. This is a preliminary list of priorities, and again, you can view the recording on the project website to learn more about the metro area plan. Tonight's discussion and activities are centered around West Athens-Westmont, which is one of the 7 neighborhoods included in the metro area plan. West Athens-Westmont is located west of the 110 freeway, adjacent to the cities of Inglewood, Gardena, and Los Angeles. It is home to about 41,000 residents and 3,800 jobs. Los Angeles Southwest College is located in the community with an enrollment of over 8,000 students. Westmont has also played a significant role in the county's civil rights movement, known as one of the first public courses to desegregate. Chester Washington Golf Course kick-started the desegregation of golf courses throughout Los Angeles County, which set in motion a county-wide overhaul of segregationist policies. Before I turn it over to John Camp from Placeit, who will be leading tonight's activities, I just wanted to mention that we have set aside time at the end in case there's anything you didn't get to share during the activity. So with that, I will turn it over to you, John.
Thanks, Janet, and thanks everyone for being here tonight. So what we're going to do is segue into an interactive activity. We're going to do 2 model building activities right now. Next slide. So the first activity is going to be building your favorite childhood memory. A lot of people have questions about why we do this to start. Next slide. The reason why we do this is we really want to find out what matters to you. And a lot of times within our childhood memories are our core values. These are times when we felt happy, when we felt like we belonged, when we explored things, when we felt a sense of independence. We really want to know what those experiences and memories are for you. And then those can set the tone for the second activity, which is to build your ideal neighborhood. So tonight we'll be building our ideal Westmont, West Athens. Next slide. And we do this because we want to know both what spaces and places matter to you, but also what your hopes and dreams and visions are for your neighborhood. So you'll be able to work with your hands and actually build those ideas. And it'd be a lot easier to be creative when we work with our hands than if we were just to talk about what we wanted. Next slide. So when we say model building, we aren't talking about anything that's supposed to be perfect. So I don't want people to feel intimidated by this exercise. You can use whatever you have lying around the house in your room. If you're at your office right now, you can use things like paper clips. You could use a stapler, pens, pencils, you name it. What we're trying to do here is represent ideas and elements of our memories and our ideal places, not necessarily recreate them. So you don't have to have like a miniature tree in order to build a tree into your model. You can use something that's green, and that can either take the place of a tree or be the stand-in for a tree. So that's all you need to do. Next slide. I'm going to show you guys some examples so you can get a sense of what people have built in the past. So this is someone's favorite childhood memory of going to Mexico and learning how to dance. So they just use all these bottles and various things lying around the house to show or to indicate family members being together and learning how to dance. Next slide. This is another model that someone built their favorite childhood memory, which was being together with the whole family and being outside. Next slide. And then this is a model that someone built of a nativity scene that she would build with her grandmother, a nativity scene or a nacimiento. Next slide. So just to recap, we're going to start with building our favorite childhood memory, and then we're going to build our ideal neighborhood. We are going to stay in one room and build all together. So we're going to take about 5 to 7 minutes per building exercise. After each, we'll have a chance to share what we've built. I'm going to change my name in where I have my name just below where you can see me. And I'll change it to my email address, and you can take a picture of your model once you're done and send it to me by email. If you don't want to do that, you can also just use your camera on either your phone or your computer, and you can show us what you've built. I'm also going to keep our camera on while we're building, so you can just get a sense of how you might build a model in case you're still unsure of what to do. So let me just change that right now, and we'll get started with building. Great, so let's take 5 to 7 minutes to do that.
I need more clarification. Where to go and get in our home things to build about our favorite memories?
Yes. So for example, let me just show you some objects that you can use. I've got a checker, I've got a pen,
The house plant,
I've got a house plant,
the orange,
and an orange.
a knife, whatever you have handy.
Right, so you just use a base. So I'm just using a book, and then you can build your memory. So say my memory was of being outside and playing with my friends. This could represent being outside. This could be my friends, and this little ghost could be my friends. And then you just build, the scene that you remember. If there were houses there, you can put those there. Whatever you want to do. There's no right or wrong answer. There's no right or wrong way to do it. The idea is just to have fun and just use what you have around the house.
You capture that experience, that joy.
Is that helpful? So let's start building then. So James is working on building his favorite childhood memory right now. It involves being outside in his backyard.
Well, growing up in East LA, we had a big backyard with a lot of fruit trees: apricot, plum, lemon, and fig.
Let's take a few more minutes to build. All right, let's take 1 more minute to build. And then when you're ready, you can take a photo and email me the photo of your model, and then we'll start sharing what we've built. And if you didn't have a chance to build, you also have an opportunity to just share with us what your favorite childhood memory was. So I'm starting to get a couple, so I'm gonna pull those up.
we send these to you?
Yeah, you can send a photo of it to me, or you can just use your camera right there and just tilt it and show us what you
Computer.
built. Whatever's easiest for you.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I don't know how to send it to you. I did take a picture.
Oh, no problem.
problem.
Do you want to try just tilting your camera and showing us what you built? Are
Sure.
you able to do that? Okay, cool. And when you're sharing with us what your memory is, I'll paraphrase in the chat what it is you've built.
Oh, wow.
Oh, perfect.
That works, Judy.
Yes.
Yeah, it works.
That works. Tell us what you built.
Okay. My family, I had 5 siblings and my dad and my mom. My mom was a housewife. We had fruit trees. Here's the lemon, apple, grapes. And we would take outings to the zoo. So I have this dinosaur, and then I have an elephant here. And our family was full of joy and love. And I have to represent that, the bowls of happiness. And my dad was a chef cook on the Union Pacific Railroad. So we had a variety of wonderful foods all the time. That's it.
Fruit trees.
That's great.
Let's just our minds.
And by the way, I grew up on 124th Street off of Central Avenue. So
Wow.
I kind of stayed in the community.
Wow. You're really good resource of memories and ideas.
Yes.
So I should do mine next.
That's great. I'm gonna share James's right now. It's actually quite similar
To yours, Judy.
So I'm gonna pull that up.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna share James's right now. Actually, it's very similar to yours. It's interesting.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right.
Let me pull that up.
It's right there. It was up there.
Can you reshare it with me? It looks like it disappeared. Just do airdrop, and then I'll pull it up. All right, let me pull this up.
Yeah.
All right, let me share the screen. Okay.
Okay. So similar to Judy's, my memory, I grew up in Los Angeles, East LA. We had a really big backyard. We had a lot of fruit trees. So we had a tangerine, we had apricot, plum tree, fig tree, pecan tree, and lemon tree. And every summer, every spring, the most beautiful day was when when the apricot and the plum tree bloomed. It was just covered with flowers, white and pink flowers. So that was really, really incredible. I just spent days in the backyard, chasing butterflies and bees and all the different kind of little critters. But it was really nice, wonderful yard, having all this access to nature. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, thanks.
That was great. Who else would like to share? Has anyone built a model, or would you like to just share with us either in the chat, or else you can turn your mic on and just tell us what your favorite childhood memory is?
My name is Luella Candler.
Hello.
Hi, I was born in East Texas. My father was sort of well off and had several properties, and we had a great big house, a great big yard, a great big garden with figs and grapes and ducks and rabbits. And my father was a church leader, so I had a good Christian background, and I enjoyed that thoroughly. And just enjoying the sisters and brothers, 7 of us were available. So thank you for letting me share.
Thanks, that's beautiful.
That's great.
Access to nature and family.
We're seeing a recurring theme of a lot of fruit trees, it seems.
Yeah.
That's great.
What about
Who else would like to share? Namia, I think you're muted. Try to unmute yourself. Oops.
I think you're on mute.
Let me see if I can send you a message. So, I don't know if can we unmute? So we can't.
That's her again.
John,
Oh, Namia,
I'm trying to
sorry, I
unmute.
just-
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, Nami, I just asked you to unmute. You should see if you scroll to the bottom of your computer screen, a toolbar should pop up and you should see unmute at the very left corner.
Click on that.
Can you hear us?
No problem. Well, what we can do is
Sure.
we can come back to you. Is there someone else who'd like to share while we figure out the technical issue right here?
E. Harris.
Uh,
Hi, my name is Evelyn Harris. I was a little late getting on, I apologize.
no
So
problem.
I'm trying to catch up with what you guys are talking about. I was born in South Carolina,
Nice.
and I grew up on a farm and in a Christian home. We went to church all the time, walked to church every Sunday or whatever. I've been in LA since 1981, and like I said, I'm just trying to catch up now for coming on late and what's happening in the Zoom meeting.
Oh yeah, no problem. So what we're doing is we've built little models of our favorite childhood memories, and we're just using found objects from around the house to build the models. But we're going to do another model building activity after this, so you'll have a chance to build a model.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but it sounds like you've already shared with us at least part of what was great about your childhood. So we appreciate that.
What part of South Carolina?
It's a little town called Clio, South Carolina. It's right on the North Carolina, South Carolina border.
Yeah, I was just working in Spartanburg in Greenville.
Okay. Yeah, I know where Spartanburg is, but that's about 2.5 hours away from my hometown.
Yeah, they're beautiful country out there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. My mother-in-law is Cuban, and the first time she went there, she just could not believe how beautiful and green it was.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is. It is pretty country.
That's great. Is there anyone else who'd like to share before we move on? Well, if you weren't able to get your microphone working, you can always type into the chat what your favorite childhood memory is. But what we'd like to do now, before we move on to the next model building activity, is to go back through the memories that people have and pull out what the recurring themes are. And you can either type the recurring themes into the chat box, or you can just turn your mic on and tell us. But we want to really see what really connects all these memories together. Oh, great. Yeah, and Marina contributed one. Her favorite memory is going to the beach with their cousins. Thank you. So just take a couple minutes to look through these and see what you see as being the recurring themes.
Common locations, common activities, common feelings.
Yeah, fruit trees is one for sure.
Family.
Joy, and feelings of joy. Another one,
Nature.
nature, animals, being outside. I think everyone's memory was of being outside.
Family.
Yeah,
Family, yeah. Being with family.
Okay, I'm up there now. I'm gonna mute for a second. I have a different memory. You hear me?
Oh,
Yeah,
we can
yeah,
hear
yes.
you. Oh, yeah.
I have a different memory. I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota. So I had a lot of winter time. I used to skate outside. We used to go to the circuit. And so this all this, I have a skating card on my table. I have a cloud on my table. This is stuff off my desk. This is happy stuff I keep listing on my desk. So I didn't have to, I have my happy clown. I have a circus, flying trapeze lady, and I have Felix the cat on my desk here. And I said, and my skating pond. And outside the plate, I have a tree. This is all, and another animal. I have a koala or something here on the desk. This is stuff that's all, I call this my happy stuff. I keep me happy, looking, reminding of where I came from, and just happy stuff. And playing with my brothers, like, yeah, I have a little boy down here, someplace in this, all this stuff here. Yeah, so anyway, so I had very similar, but in a different location. Being outside and skating outside all winter, and on the other side, I turned my skate pond over to become a swimming pool. And so I swam all summers in the lakes and pools and skated on them. Okay, so that's what I did. I still do that. I can't skate anymore. I could skate more. But I still go swimming out there. I go to the outdoor pools. I go to the gym swimming, and I go to the park walking, and I have cats. My backyard still have Felix the cat, big black cat, and probably roams around up there by Julie's. She goes 2 blocks away. My cat used to be home and go up there by her house. So yeah. So yeah. Okay, time to what will happen. Okay, thanks so much.
Thanks so much for sharing. That was great. I'm from Minneapolis too, so I'm very familiar with
winter.
skating, ice skating in the winter, and swimming in the summer. Yeah. So thank you for that. And also very similar in terms of recurring themes. So being outside, being with family, nature,
Weather.
exploration. Yeah, great. So we are, did you want to say anything?
Yeah,
before we move
so I
on?
think all these memories that we just talked about, they kind of form our DNA for city planning. These kind of happy moments in our lives, we look for what we're going to look for in the city in our life. Either we're going to be conscious of it or subconsciously. We're going to look for these moments to really kind of highlight our sense of belonging in a place, but it kind of start from our childhood memories. So this is why it's important that we talk about this. Because how do we make a community that can really support our stories and really kind of give us this kind of joy again?
Great. Yeah. So what we're going to do now is from these memories. Now we're going to move into building our ideal Westmont, West Athens. And same thing. So you can just use found objects from around your house and build a model of your ideal neighborhood. There are no right or wrong answers. You don't have to be perfect with your models. Just have fun with it. And we'll take about 5 to 7 minutes to build. And then we'll do the same thing where you can share what you've built. All right, I hope everyone's enjoying building. Looks like we're going with the tree and nature theme with our model.
Yeah. So late.
All right, let's take a few more minutes to build. All right, let's take about one more minute to build, and then we'll start sharing what we built. Okay, so who would like to go first and share with us what they built for their ideal neighborhood?
Okay, we did do it. Perfect.
Okay. Am I unmuted? So maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't. What I did is took my short plants, I have some TV miniatures. So this is going to represent green spaces. And I took my taking the screen with this green, it looks like a palm tree. So I'm interested in green spaces, and we have right here. It needs to continue to be upgraded, and trees. And I did work with that neighborhood something. We did all the trees and stuff. I worked with them for about 2 years, and getting trees. And we didn't get trees, but we need more in our neighborhood because that helps for our, whatever that help us better. But parks and green spaces, maintain the ones we have, and get more because there's different spaces that can be changed into many parks and parks in the neighborhood. And I don't see, I personally do not see any room for any more home building because what we have here is overrunning our no parking, and that's, and I took my paper to represent the car that has no place to park on the street. So, except for our street in front of somebody's house, you've got, you're living across the street and their parking buildings that did not put any parking structure or even a carport or nothing. And so I don't see any room for that. Well, right here where I live, I don't know from where I live, Nelson to Imperial, I not see room for any more home development, but I know they want more home development or affordable housing, but I don't see what would happen right there where I live in my little 3 square mile area in West Athens from Athens-Westmont to Imperial. But moving on to the Westmont, there's still some spaces for green spaces. Because several years ago, we did a walkthrough, we walked from, I don't know, 108 all the way up to Manchester and around Normandy. And we come up with the people that are neighborhood block club and stuff for somebody and other. And so, and we, checked out the sidewalks that were all torn, and I don't think they ever fixed Normandy from that from when I took 108 to Manchester is terrible. Sidewalks are all cracked up. They call things stop signs. And people at one of those corners were just crisscrossing and jaywalking to get to the bus stop. Is there on 100 and something between that and those areas. And we just stood there for like a half an hour watching all the people zigzag when they could have put a stop sign someplace in there between 108 and before you get to Manchester or before you get to Century Boulevard. So I was talking about Normandy needs a whole lot of work. A lot of your sidewalk streets. It needs a whole lot of work. And continue to put green spaces, upgrade green spaces, upgrade the parks. Yeah. I have more, but what else?
No, that's great.
Thank you.
That's a great set of things. So I've tried to write. I basically just paraphrased what you said. So that's great. Who would like to go next? Judy, did you build a model? Sort of.
Sort of. More greenery.
Oh, nice.
Oh, goodness. Things blooming. Fresh air, clean atmosphere.
Oh, nice.
Water. We need pure water without all of the smell and the granules in our water. Why should we have to buy bottled water in this day and time? Also, to clean up, we need to spray and clean up. Our communities have gone down.
Okay.
They are dirty.
Mhm.
People are dumping, throwing things out. Every week I have to call to have them to make another trip to pick up garbage. Also, the happiness of family, like I said, we have RVs that are living in our community, in our residential areas. And we have built our homes up, especially during this pandemic. We've done a lot on the outside to make it look better. But now with the RVs broken down, living amongst us, our property values are going down. Also with the roads. Our roads here in Athens haven't been repaved, our streets, in 15, 20 years. Pipes are busting, flooding at least every 3 to 4 months. We need to have this redone. Also on our curbs, we have no addresses. When the fire department comes, I hear it. And I said, where are you going? They said, we're looking for an address. They can't even find the person that's in need of them. We need to have the addresses put on the curbs. Also, I live on a corner. The red is all crumbling. The white that's supposed to say stop is no longer there. Accidents are happening every other week. This should not be. Also, I'm very concerned with the redistricting. It's changing numbers in our community. Also with the being able to build 4 or 5 units on a lot, and we have large lots here, some of us, there's no place for parking. They're not building any garages or even carports. So these people in 4 units are gonna park on the street. Can you imagine the havoc that's happening in our communities? Oh, people, it wasn't like this 15 years ago. And like I said, I've lived here. I was born and raised in LA, the unincorporated area of LA County. So I've seen the dismal changes occur, and it saddens me. I think about the children that have to grow up in this. It should not be. And I know there are monies that has been allocated, but where are the monies going? Are they going to View Park? Are they going to Culver City? The affluent areas? What about West Athens, Westmont? We have been here for all of these years and trying to keep the community safe and clean and wholesome. We shouldn't have to live like this.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Really, I've paraphrased everything you said from both hopes and dreams you have, but also to the problems that you enumerated.
Oh, shit.
So thank you very much. Any other community members? Would any other community members like to share what they built for their models, or either they built a model or just ideas for their ideal neighborhood? I'm going to share in the meantime, if anyone wants to, but in the meantime, I will share what James built. So this is it right here.
So what I built a really beautiful medians down on Vermont. By Manchester, you have those really wide, beautiful medians with those big cypress and I just put some nice, landscaping, cleaned it up, put some benches there, put some nice stores, on either side of Vermont. People could go there and have lunch, sit down and relax. Right now, the stores aren't very pedestrian friendly. Yeah, so I just really enhanced those really beautiful medians. I think you start in Manchester and end up in El Segundo or down in Compton Boulevard, but it's really nice. It's really good. It's a really nice community asset. Just enhancing the Vermont medians.
Great, thank you. I've typed that into the chat as well.
Wow, James, you took your children's Lego set.
Yeah, they're my Legos.
Oh, okay.
Those are James's. Those aren't his kids. That's one of James's favorite pastimes.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So well, that's great. Does anyone else want to add anything in terms of their ideal Westmont, ideal West Athens?
Luella or Harris?
Well, I agree with mostly what Judy said about the neighborhood. We have I haven't been here as long as Judy have. My husband and I moved here in 1988. And but since that time, I have seen the deterioration of the neighborhood. There are, like she said, RVs, but not just the RVs. There are too many commercial trucks that are parking in the neighborhood. A lot of people don't even live in the neighborhood, and they're using our neighborhood for their business to park their trucks. And it's just taken away from the aesthetics of our neighborhood. I would like to see, we had a proposal a couple of years ago for them to turn where the towers are off of Raymond into a park. And it was a great idea, but we voted it down because to put a park there with nobody being responsible to keep it up or nobody to keep the homeless out, we would just be asking for more trouble. So even though it would look aesthetically pretty in the beginning, we knew it would cause more problems. So I think before we can even get some of the aesthetic greenery in that we're talking about, there need to be something in place. Who's going to maintain it? Who's going to be responsible for policing it, as they say, or whatever? So I would just like to see the neighborhood get back to the clean neighborhood that it was, not having all these people that are coming from the outside into our neighborhood, making it deteriorate from what it was.
Great. I've written everything down. That's great. And we're going to be, so all of this, we're going to be recording all of this and writing this up and pulling out all the recurring themes. We're going to pull out some recurring themes right now, but we're going to do that as well. So we can really home in on both your dreams and your visions for the neighborhood, but also these problems that you guys have talked about, because these are recurring themes across a lot of the different unincorporated county areas. So like the RVs, for example, this has been a recurring theme that's come up over and over again. So we are going to make sure that these things go into what we write up and what we send to the county. So with we're going to, before we move on, what I'd love for folks to do is just look through what people came up with in terms of what they really want to see, what you guys want to see in your neighborhood, and just pull out what the commonalities are. And so I've just paraphrased everything in the chat, so you can just scroll through here.
Clean streets.
Great. Yeah, so I'm gonna put in clean streets. Janet said more green space and infrastructural improvements. Streets for the residents. It's definitely one.
Parking management.
Parking management. Solutions to the RV.
Yeah, because they dump up on Red, up my corner on the 24th. They right there, 124th in Raymond, the RV comes there, and I saw the people, it's like they're at home taking out all the garbage, but they don't take the garbage, they take the garbage and leave it right there at that corner.
Yep.
I know the Jews can't see it, but 2 blocks of it on 123rd and Glenville, and they do the same thing over there. And so these big trucks that do not belong to anybody who's living on Raymond. I asked the people, I said, this is your company truck? No, this is not my company truck. And so somebody's company is coming parking, I said, these trucks right there on Raymond. I'm going to try to do about up there too. But it's just the same thing. And it's because our neighborhood is a beautiful neighborhood. And we have wide streets. And so they come and they see the beautiful wide streets. They can park a big RV there. And I think, well, the neighbors got the other side. But no, this is still, here again, I always go to the same That's the main thing. We're not paying the taxes in this neighborhood. Those persons in the RV, no, they're not. They're not paying the taxes. People in the neighborhood, even if they're living in apartments, taxes are being paid because they're paying high rents. So your what do you call it, guys? Your who owns the apartment, he's paying taxes. That's the same. RV people are not responsible for anything because they dump their mess there and I mean, when I say mess, right there. And leave all their trash right there. So they take no responsibility because they don't have to, because, well, it's not like stuff. No, it isn't. But whoever these people are, they just come from someplace and just crap up the neighborhood. It's not good. We are paying the taxes, and then they decide, well, I think we need to add another surtax onto the garbage thing because we have more garbage to pick up, from the garbage company. Okay, someplace they're going to add another surtax, like they call the surtaxes, they're giving other different names. But here again, we as residents are responsible, and those persons are not. So that's the thing. And like Jimmy said, big old trucks, and the guys with I call them $1 billion cars stacked on top of one another, who come and park on Raven. Yeah, I think there's the park for that by Julie's on the side, but they're right there on Raven, right there, between 120 something and 124. With their cars. Now, there's no car dealership in our neighborhood. No, the nearest car dealership is right down in Gardena on the Downhill Beach Boulevard. That's the nearest car dealership. So where are these, whatever they're called, car transporters coming from and parking? And sometimes they park, I know the same guys used to park right there on Vermont between 124th and 123rd and 120th. Here again, there is not a car dealership, not even a used car dealership. So this is his business. This is like a used car business, and he parks his used cars on this big thing there in the neighborhood, which does not mean because there are signs on the corner, in our neighborhood corners, the weightage, or what they call the weight of trucks that are supposed to be in the, and this is way over. If you have it's called the 6 cars, I don't know how many cars, it's more than one car. So they are violating the weight of a car that's supposed to be up there on my corner, 124th, and Judy's and Miss Harris's corners up on 122nd, 123rd. So that is, unless they change something overnight, but the sign is still up there that says weight of your vehicle to come into our neighborhood, to make that turn, either going west or east on 124th or north and south on Raymond. So anyway, that I always do my taxes, and somebody's not using the property because we're not getting them what we need to get here. So, and there's more.
Yeah. No problem. I paraphrase what you said. Go ahead.
My question is to you. How much influence do you have in all this, what we're doing? How much influence do you have in getting something done for us? I mean, how much do you have influence to, with, who are you going to take all this information to? I know it says the regional find out who these people are. I think your job is like an intermediary. Is that what you are? Facilitator of what we're doing. But I want to know what you're talking about. Where does it go? Are you going to help us? That's my question.
Yeah. Does someone from Dudak want to field that question?
Sure. I can take a stab, and then if county staff, Leon or Rich, want to add to it. Unamia, thank you for all your comments, your concerns, and the input you're providing the planning process. So the metro area plan that we're working on, looking at these 7 communities, the primary purpose of that plan is to look at land use and zoning. So to look at future buildings, future building types, future uses, our ability to look at streets and the public right of way and how those operate and get managed is limited. However, because this is a county planning exercise, the county staff and the project team has the ability to coordinate and provide input to other county agencies who are directly responsible for managing some of these issues. So the input that you provide, we will share internally to a wider county audience and have them become aware of this issue. But at the end of the day, anything that you're providing us, we will ensure that it makes its way to the right ears who are supposed to listen to them. So I don't know whether that addresses some of your question. And Rich and or Leon, if you want to expand on that, feel free to.
Oh, sure. Let me turn my video on. Hi, Mrs. Bryant. It's good to see you, and the other participants too. I recognize a lot of you from the previous work that we've done, and I know that I'm sorry about my dog. He sensed that the microphone was coming off. But I know that we've had a lot of conversations and a lot of these issues that we've heard, and it's so important. And I want to thank you for keep bringing them up. The more we bring them up, the more that we talk about it, the more likely we're going to get answers and we're going to get action. So I just really want to thank you for continuing to be the voice and coming and participating in meetings like this is really where you're heard and you continue to be heard. So I just want to say that we do hear you. We want to get this message to the right people. And what you're doing to keep saying it over and over, what the issues are, the example of the park along Raymond is a perfect example where on paper that sounds like a wonderful idea, but the practicality of it it doesn't pencil out. And it was you conveying that put the brakes on that. So you are heard. Please don't feel like you're not heard. The more you say it, the more that we'll be able to get it to the right people. So thank you again.
Are we going to receive feedback once you give it to the right people? Hopefully It's not going to take another year or two. Are we going to be updated?
We will. What we can do is I can tell you what we'll do with it. I can't tell you who's going to respond or when. So what I can do is when we take this information and we pass it on to the right people, I can tell you who we passed it on to. And at that point, we can just follow it up and we'll keep following it up. I wish I could do more, but I do want to be honest with you.
Sure, certainly. I know I was a participant with another virtual conference, and Holly Mitchell, our supervisor, was in that virtual conference. And she says that we have monies that's allocated for the infrastructure. Why are we sitting on the money and not dispersing it?
I have a feeling with your new supervisor that it won't be very long. Just given her history of action and her advocacy for the community, for sure, I have a feeling that she's going to be lighting fires and getting things going.
Well, I hope so in our community, because she's lighting fires in the affluent ones.
Hey, point it out. Absolutely. Point that out.
Oh, and I have. I chatted the whole time, and this was maybe 3-4 months ago. Nothing was ever said. No one ever got back to me. So it's as if I'm speaking to a wall. But see, I will continue.
Good.
I have been an advocate in the communities. I worked for the Community Development Commission, Section 8 for 20 years. I worked with LA County Department of Public Social Services. And so I've been retired
Yeah.
since 2008 and still
Yeah.
working in the community. And
Yeah.
as I showed them last time, here's a book that was written about West Athens, and Miss Bryant is in the book as well as I am. People need to read this book. Look at this book. It tells about our community, all of the nationalities that make up Westmont, Athens.
Absolutely.
Have you read
Absolutely.
it, Leon? Have you read it?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, it came out in April of 2019. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, 2019. Yes,
April of 2019.
April the 23rd, 2019.
I'm
And it's
sure that I can get
Athens.
it.
Yeah, Spanish and English.
I'm sure that I can get it. With this pandemic, everything's kind of been thrown. Obviously, we're sitting here online, but it came out in 2019, and I think that was right around when we were with the previous project that you guys all helped us on. We were getting that through the board with the previous supervisor. I promise you, I will read it. Absolutely.
Yes. Thank you.
I will.
Okay, thank you, Leon. You know, I thank you for coming back because I haven't seen you for a couple of years, but I always wondered what happened to me, and I'm glad to see you.
It's good to see you too. Thank you.
Okay, well, keep on helping us.
Thanks, Leon, for just clarifying everything, and thanks, Gar, for clarifying everything. I think we're going to wrap up our portion of this of the meeting, so we can move on to the next portion of the meeting.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Okay, so before we get started on our next activity, that was actually the perfect segue for open discussion and just anything you didn't get to mention during the activity, if you want to speak now. No, it looks like everyone got their input in. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so for this next activity, it's very short and it's intended to help us understand your neighborhood a little better. So on the screens here, you see a map of opportunity areas identified through previous planning efforts. And we would like to supplement this information and add places that are valued by the community. So we have some example questions here. And as you're reading through the questions, you can either say them out loud or you can also type them into the chat box. So the questions include landmarks that you would show your visitors, festivals and parties that you go to, favorite places to eat or to listen to music, local businesses, parks, special places you hang out at.
Okay, I usually show my family and friends the beautiful Helen Keller Park. And some of them, because I've been in the neighborhood right here for 58 years. So I was here when it was a kind of good park. I was here when it went down. I was here when it went really terrible. And that's why we had to get it back together again. And so because people said, oh no, I'm not coming to home. I said, no, you can come back down to Keller Park and see how beautiful it is. And that's one of the things I talk to my friends and family about. And so they've come back. My family will all come back. They come back. And they don't even live around here, but they come back to the park. And they love it. They love how beautiful it looks now. But yes.
Thank you. Okay, I don't see anyone inputting anything in the chat, but we're going to drop in the email. So if you want to think about it a little more and email us any list of places, you can feel free to send it to the email. That should be available in the chat. There it is. So it's Metro Area Plan at planning.lacounty.gov. So this is a round 1 virtual workshop schedule. Today was our last workshop, so thank you all for participating. Workshops will begin again in the spring of 2022. You can visit the project's website to view past recordings and stay up to date. Please share this information with your neighbors. They can still provide input and help us by participating in the community survey. And also they can watch the previous recordings and send us an email with their input. So the community survey link, the project's website, and the project's email are all in the chat right now. So again, the project website is planning.lacounty.gov/metro area plan.
I have one more question before you go.
Yes, of course.
I'm looking at your map and it has a nice big circle and it says opportunity. What does that mean to you? Opportunity, something, what to you? I know what it means to me, but I want to know what you are thinking when you say opportunity area in our wonderful West Athens-Westmont area. What does that mean? Because I talked to people and they said, what are you talking about? Look at something, you know, that a beautiful little circle. And he said, opportunity something. I said, okay. Well, or maybe what they talking about? I said, well, I'll ask them what they mean by that. To them, what opportunities are you talking about?
I can answer this if you'd like. This is a map that was included in the general plan that was updated in 2015. And so what we were looking at that time was countywide. This is a very high level viewpoint, and it really was focused on the transit center. And then we were looking at in all of the communities, what are the major corridors? Where are the concentrations of commercial businesses, like the commercial corners and that kind of thing? And I think too, in the last, in the specific plan that we worked on, one of the things that we heard was that that corner adjacent to Los Angeles Southwest College, that the idea of that becoming kind of a college town atmosphere was one that people liked. And so some rezoning was done in that area. Does that answer your question?
Some. Right, because I remember going back and hearing about all this stuff because, and what happened, something fell through. Because I remember them talking about Southwest College and how they really wanted to make that a quote unquote college town atmosphere in that neighborhood. But how can they do this? Across the street, they tore down one of the motels and are putting it multi-level, some kind of affordable or somebody's affordable living. Okay, so that to me, I don't know. I don't see that as a college town atmosphere.
Sure. And it's kind of hard because with planning, we don't control the implementation so much. We can plan and we can set the conditions for the right kind of growth that the community said they wanted to see. We can put those conditions in place, but we can't, make people build it right away. So it will take some time for that kind of thing to happen. But across Western from the college, that area, certainly, where the shopping is, and we heard that the shopping in that area was very important. And I know I've attended several meetings where the manager of the Food for Less would come, and she was terrific. But hearing about those kinds of things that were valued in the community, that we want to keep these things, but we also want to provide opportunities for housing. We would like it if our children could be able to afford to move back to the neighborhood that they grew up in. Those kinds of things. And so when we're looking at these areas, there's a lot of things that we're trying to achieve. And at the end of the day, we really can just put the parameters in place for those things to happen. But I agree with you. I would like to see it happen quicker, certainly.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Freeland.
Thank you, Leon.
Hey, Janet. Sorry,
Yes.
this is Gaurav. I was just checking the chat. There was a question from Evelyn, and I think John may have answered it already. For Evelyn's benefit, the question was first around the opportunity areas and the rationale for opportunity areas, which Leon addressed, and then Mrs. Bryant had a follow-up question on requesting us to explain what a college town design concept or a planning concept was, which is what also Leon responded to. Evelyn, I don't know whether that addresses what you were looking for.
It does. I couldn't hear her. There's when she speaks, I'm getting a lot of static and I can't hear Ms. Bryant. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, Janet, sorry, go ahead.
Thank you, Gaurav. Okay, so once again, we have here the links, the project website, and the links are in the chat, the community survey that has also been added to the chat, and the metro area plan email, which is also in the chat. I'm recopying them now so you guys have them fresh. Okay, so before we launch the exit survey, I just want to say thank you all for joining and all of the input you have provided today. And also, I'm going to turn it over to county staff for a hello and goodbye.
If I can find my unmute, this will be me again. I'll try not to ramble as much, but I just want to thank all the participants again. We hear your message and you keep saying it, and that's what's really important. When you feel like you're not being heard, you are being heard, and the more you say it, the better. So you're helpful. Your information and the ideas that you shared with us tonight are really helpful. And I really, again, thank you for your participation.
Thank you, Leon. So with that, you should see the poll on your screen now. Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for participating, and have a good evening.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, good night.
Good night.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Stay
Thank you.
safe, everyone.
You
Wear
too,
your
Judy.
mask and wash your hands.
Absolutely.
Good night, everyone.
Okay.
Take care.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.